Hello and welcome. I'm Trey, this is the Full Spectrum, and here's why you should experience the Magnus Archives. The Magnus Archives is a podcast series done by Rusty Quill. It is a horror drama audio series that has an incredible amount of production value put behind it and some great storytelling. It's only one of many series that they make, but it is my personal favorite, and I really recommend it. We're going to get into why, and I want to play you just a little snippet of it, but before we get into that, I feel like I should give you a little bit of a warning. The Magnus Archives is a horror series, and it is based around fear. It is a series that will have any individual fear and some multiple different fears tie in together per episode. There are quite a few episodes. I gathered a bunch of notes while I was watching it, listening to it, I suppose, so that I could try to piece together the story, which is one of the best parts about it in my mind. But there are 200 episodes, and over the course of it, not only were each of my individual fears given an episode, there were some episodes that opened my eyes to fears that I didn't know that I had. So if you're someone that's really squeamish, this is something that I would maybe away from. If you're somebody that has a hard time sleeping after encountering their fear, then maybe you want to skip those episodes. But every episode has trigger warnings, so you can see, hey, this is the fear that's being covered here. If you don't want to watch that episode, you could skip ahead just to be able to get the rest of the story. That said, I think this is a series that's absolutely listening to. I think it is a wonderful story that doesn't just tackle what fear is and why we're afraid of it, but also tackles what it means to overcome that fear, and is it even possible to fully overcome that fear? The Magnus Archives tells a story of people that are stuck in a situation that is bigger than them, without really any good options to fight it. They're doing everything they can, but is it really enough? And that is 100% the compelling storytelling that I love. I love when characters are just regular people put into a bad situation and they have to rise above it. And the fact that they're able to do that with just audio, tell this story just audio drama style, like when you would listen to the old, I guess not everybody would, like when I used to listen to the old radio shows that would tell the stories. It's so great. The audio quality is so great, and the characters, the voice work is so convincing that I believed every time these were these characters. And when I would watch supplemental stuff and see the voice actors that voiced those characters, I was like, well, that character shouldn't be saying those things, because in my head, that voice only belonged to that character. That I think it is exceptional what they were able to accomplish. I want to let you listen to just a little bit of it here, and I don't want to spoil anything for you if at all possible. I'm gonna let you listen to just a little bit of the first episode. You have an idea for what it sounds like. We're not gonna play too much. I don't want this to ever be anything that Rusty Quill would have to be like, hey, you should take that down. We don't want people watching your episodes in our episodes in your video. Obviously we don't want that, but just a little snippet here to give you an idea of whether it's worth watching or not.
That was when I heard it. Can I have a cigarette? I was startled out of my thoughts by the words, as I thought I had been alone. Quickly trying to compose myself and looking around, I noticed a small alleyway on the opposite side of the street. It was very narrow and completely unlit, with a short staircase leading up. I could see a light fixture a little way up the wall at its entrance, but it either wasn't working or wasn't turned on, meaning that beyond a few steps the alley was shrouded in total darkness. Stood there, a couple of stairs from the street, was a figure. It was hard to tell much about them, as they were mostly in the shadows, though if I'd had to guess I would have said the voice sounded male. They seemed to sway ever so slightly as I watched, and I assumed that they, like me, were probably a little bit drunk. I lit my own cigarette and held out my tobacco towards them, though I didn't approach, and asked if they were okay with a roll-up. The figure didn't move, except to continue that gentle swaying. Writing it down now, it seems so obvious that something was wrong. If I hadn't been so drunk, maybe I'd have noticed quicker, but even when the stranger asked the question again, "Can I have a cigarette?" utterly without intonation. Still, I didn't understand why I was so uneasy.
So hopefully that has you intrigued, but if for any reason it doesn't, you might be asking, why specifically the Magnus Archive? There's a bunch of audio dramas and a bunch made by Rusty Quill. Why specifically the Magnus Archives? And again, for me, it comes back to the characters. I like a story that makes my head rattle, right? Like it shakes my brain. That makes me say, oh, I hadn't even considered that's a possibility. Of course, that's what's happening, and it connects to something else. I love that. That's reason enough for me to want to listen to the Magnus Archives, because it absolutely does that. But it's the incredibly well-written characters that I think make it a thing that everyone should check out. With the exception, of course, of people that just cannot get a good night's sleep after imbibing their fears, as it were. If you're somebody that can't do that, again, maybe partake with a little bit of caution. But otherwise, this is a series that I think everybody should listen to. I'm a huge Junji Ito fan. I love Uzumaki. I love The Enigma at Amigara Fault is my favorite work that he's made, and was, up until listening to the Magnus Archives, one of my absolute favorite horror works of all times. Somote Must Be Destroyed is an incredible series that I love as well. And those two are some of the highest recommendations I've ever given on this channel. And I have to also give that recommendation to the Magnus Archives. It is a horror series that, again, brings something unique to the table. New, fresh takes on ideas that maybe have always existed, right? And the way they all tie in together is incredible. But what really makes it shine are the characters that are trapped within it. And I say trapped within it not to make you think it's just some kind of big maze or anything, but the characters that just want to exist and be happy, and especially the ones that have somebody they care about, just want that person to be happy. But the things they're dealing with, the things that we deal with on an everyday basis, make it really difficult for people to just be happy, you know? And so I feel like it's very personal to me in some ways why I love this series, but I also think the appeal is so wide-reaching that everybody should check it out. Again, if you're not a big horror person, I get that, but it's worth it. The reveals as the seasons go on throughout all 5 seasons. I want to say 5 seasons in a movie, but there's not a movie. But it is an incredible series, and there's a sequel coming. The sequel series is on the way, Magnus Protocol. So this is the perfect time to get into it. This is the perfect time to check out the Magnus Archives, and then you can be ready for Magnus Protocol when it comes out. I'm stoked for Magnus Protocol. I can't wait for it. Let me know your thoughts here. This is a really short video, I know, but I refuse to spoil things for people. And when I tell you that this is a series that has everything you love about horror in it, but also takes it in a new and interesting way, this is a series that tackles fears of insects and of werewolves and vampires and all that fun stuff, but also the fear of being alone, the fear of drowning, the fear of distance. I don't want to spoil things for you. It's so good. And all I can say is you should check it out. You should experience the Magnus Archives. I think you should anyway. And I think if you go down to the comment section, there's probably a bunch of people there telling you that you should, in fact, experience the Magnus Archives because it's really good. Let's try and keep the comment section on this one spoiler-free. You can go back to the reviews and comment anything there spoiler-wise you want to comment, by all means. But let's try and keep this video spoiler-free comment section-wise. Maybe I'll even put out like a YouTube post. It's like, hey, if you want to post your spoilers, post it here. But leave a little spoiler tag, you know. But let's try and make this a good chance for, hey, if somebody goes, well, I need a second opinion on this. I don't trust this Trey guy. He's wearing a red striped shirt. I don't trust that. What does the comment section think about this? You know, give them a second opinion down there on why you think they should watch it, because it's absolutely worth it in my mind. And also, like, there is so much. The community for the Magnus Archives is so welcoming that if you get to listening to it and you're like, oh man, I really want somebody talking to about this, every single person I've met, that's how they are. That has seen the Magnus Archives. They just want to find somebody to talk to about it. They're not going to be a jerk about it because you haven't finished everything. They're not going to spoil stuff. They just want to talk to somebody about it. And so, yeah, my goal here is to make it where there's more people to talk to about it, I guess. No, my goal is to make more people want to check out this wonderful series, especially if you've never heard of it before. And I know I did the reviews, and originally my thoughts was, well, the reviews will do that. But you're probably not going to click on a review for something you've never heard of. So I think you should experience the Magnus Archives, and I hope you'll give it a shot. Again, thanks 100% to Rusty Quill for making Magnus Archives. I don't profit in any way from that, except for getting to enjoy it, I suppose, which I absolutely profit in that way. But no, thank you so much for making it, and yeah, you guys should go check it out. So until next time, I've been Trey. This is Full Spectrum. Weird, rambly video, I know, but I refuse to spoil anything for you here. So let me know your thoughts, and please go experience the Magnus Archives. I don't think you'll regret it.